What is happening, everybody, man? Thank you guys tuning in to another episode of Expert Mentors Live. We got the one and only Mr. Jimmy Nelson back in the house. What's happening, brother?
Oh, brother, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it as usual. And super excited to be back in here with you again. And again, man, 311. I just keep watching your count, like just keep hitting up, and those numbers are crazy.
I was looking, like, even on the whole podcast itself. I mean, it just I kind of just laugh a little bit, and I think we're up almost to episode 800 on the podcast. So 311 of these are part of that, and so it's man, I love it. I really do. I enjoy it. I forget who I was talking to, kind of about, hey, what's the business metrics and everything from it? And I was like, dude, like if it was a business metric, I wouldn't do it. It's really more of, man, I just love who gets to come on and have conversations with. It keeps me sharp. It keeps me plugged in. And, plus the people that I have on are the people that I want to talk to and kind of pick their brains and kind of what they're up to. And obviously, you're no different. And I have the opportunity to join you on your show at the end of the week and, continue the conversation. And I think it's more going into it just from a great conversation. And I take notes every time, Jimmy. I mean, I really do. Every conversation, all 311 episodes, I've taken pages of notes, from that. So selfishly, it's that. And just I have a good time with it, and we're gonna keep doing it as long as get to talk to awesome people like yourself, and learn and continue to grow, and be able to have a little bit of contribution and add value back to this industry and the community.
For sure, man. Yeah, this is the fun part of our business, right? To me, this is the fun. Like you said, I always try to learn something from somebody, try to learn something, take it back to an agent. If I can learn something and pass that on, like I'm winning. And being on shows like this and getting to do stuff like this, and being around people, man, that's just the icing to what we do.
Yeah, especially thank goodness now I am coming into an office every day. It's actually Matt and DJ's office, the number one team at EXP in Pennsylvania, and so I get to come in their office every day. In fact, I was just in there with Matt, for the last hour before we jumped on here. And so, yeah, being able to connect and come in, but, for a long time, just doing this, not being able to get into that environment. So it's really awesome to be able to jump in and have the scheduled time during the week to be able to connect with people really now all over the planet, which is really awesome.
Yeah, technology has, again, COVID kind of sped us up through this, right, to get us to where we're at with all these streaming services and all the stuff we get to do. But it shrunk the world, man, and it gets us, again, to be around. Like you said, you're in Pittsburgh, I'm in Detroit, but here we are, right?
Yeah, here we are. What's cool? Did you ever go through? It was one of the trilogy books, "The Future is Faster Than You Think," with Diamandis and Coulter, I believe it was Coulter, Stephen Coulter.
No.
They wrote Abundance, but there was another book in there, and then "The Future is Faster Than You Think" was book 3 in the trilogy. Book number 2 is skipping my mind, but that book was written at the end of 2019.
Okay.
Gets rolled out in January of 20. We all know what happens middle of March of that year. But the story opens up to where they talk about where technology is and the future is faster than you think. And obviously they get into flying cars and, thinking about commutes and why more people will choose to move out of the cities and into the rural areas because of the commute is going to be, quick. Right. Yeah. And they're just talking about all of the speed of transportation and the emergence of AI to the point of, AI will be able to pull all of the events out of your calendar, and knowing that you got to commute to this location, that down to the point to where it'll automatically order your Uber, and your Uber's waiting for you in alignment to what's going on in your calendar to be able to kind of coordinate commutes and travel. It's really fascinating, but they break down industry by industry, and inside of real estate, they only talk about one company Now, keep in mind, Jimmy, this was written in the end of 2019,
Right.
and gets released public in January of 20. They in real estate, they talk about one company, EXP,
Yeah.
and
Funny how that works.
inside of there too, they also get into avatars
Okay.
and what happened with during the pandemic, what happened with the avatar side of things, but being able to like what you were talking about, even the Star Wars type of Star Trek, being able to have the hologram being present in certain dynamics and situations. It's a really, really good book. And then when you put into context the timing of when it was written and when it was released and what transpired a couple months later, to your point,
Yeah.
the whole it accelerated technology probably by a decade.
Yeah.
What happened in 6 to 9 months collapsed about a decade of time on technology.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, the impact that it's had too. So, again, living in the Detroit area. So my youngest son is a freshman in high school, and we got a note home from school. School was canceled again a couple weeks ago, but they're out of snow days. So they don't have any more snow days left. So if school by chance gets canceled now, they're just going to go online. So they've just adjusted everything. So there is not a snow day left. They have to get up and then get online, and they're going to be in the Google classrooms. And there is no more snow days, which I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm glad they didn't have that when I was a kid.
Same.
Oh,
We look forward to those snow days.
praying for snow days, man. And but now it's like this technology piece. And again, he's 14, but he got up. They've already had one at home day, so he gets up, gets on his computer, and has to sit at the table and gets in his Google Classrooms and does his thing. And it's pretty wild, man. And again, like this technology thing and this AI, you brought that up, it has sped everything up. But one thing that I've found with agents, you've been doing this for a long time too, and you understand, you've helped agents with tech, and you've helped agents with systems and processes and how do they do this, and still, there's agents that are still failing, right? Like they can have the top technology and the AI and all the things, but one thing that I've been in this deep dive and found out is AI doesn't help you calm your chaos down. It amplifies your chaos.
Yeah.
So if you're already living in that chaotic system, right, that world, like you said, your schedule, you can take your schedule and AI can help you build your schedule. But if it's already chaotic, AI just amplifies the chaos. It doesn't slim anything down. It just makes it worse.
Yeah. That's in, I think because we're in kind of that transition, right? Really moving from the knowledge worker to what I love in my conversations with Eric Post. Have you met Eric from Whoosy?
I haven't.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the at the forefront of kind of this AI revolution, especially the way that he thinks about it. A lot of the similarities that align with what Jeff Woods talks about in the AI driven leader, but Eric has a little bit different philosophical kind of take and approach on it, and obviously he's built one of the best tools, especially for real estate with Whoosy.
Yeah,
and was built out of a necessity as he was solving a problem for his daughter at school, and everything that he's built within the Whoosy ecosystem is all built around solving a problem. If you get a chance, go to Eric Post, ERICPOST.ai, and read his manifesto.
okay.
It's a 10-page manifesto right there on the site. But ericpost.ai, go read the manifesto. It is a must read. Everybody I get a chance to talk to, especially when we start talking about AI, I point them over to Eric, and he's got a really interesting take because we, have been kind of the knowledge worker based where, you could kind of put a guardrail up around or a paywall around some information. Well,
Right.
There is no paywall. I mean, all the information's out there. So really, to your point about it's going to amplify the chaos, but that's where wisdom comes in, right? Wisdom comes through knowledge, comes through experiences, comes through the trials, the tribulations, standing in the fire. And I mean, that's just really right. We're kind of, hardened and designed and crafted through our experiences. And so that's where the wisdom really comes from.
Yeah.
And moving more into there, because if you just take AI at what it's giving you without any, critical thinking capabilities and how to discern and truly problem solve and really the critical thinking side of things, it's going to fool you, and it's going to gas you up. It's going to make you feel like you know more than what you really do. But that's where the discernment and the wisdom really comes in, to be able to like, that's a little BS. Let's dive off of this a little bit. Let's like go down a path that I know to be more true. So it's really interesting. But he gives a really thoughtful way to think about the direction and the future of AI and where we're going, especially with business. And this will segue and tie right into the rabbit hole that you've been going down, because my personal coach told me about 3 years ago, he said, Jimmy, I asked him the question. I just said, hey, as human beings, where do we need to invest our time to improve? And my coach is contracted by a lot of the Fortune 100 companies. He's contracted, the U.S. Air Force has him on contract, and he works with the leadership throughout the Air Force. And he said, the number one thing throughout 25 was AI. Everybody, like U.S. Air Force, I mean, just everybody, AI, everything. But he told me about 3 years ago, Jimmy, he said, and when I asked him that question, he said two things. One, you have to have some type of mindfulness practice. And number two, you have to go deep on emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And so when, kind of what we were going to dive into and talk about today, I was like, that just like the dog whistle, like my tail's wagging. I'm like, oh, let's go. Because it is that critical, right? And I think, as you improve that EQ and your discernment capabilities in the AI, you can sniff out a lot of things, but you can also sit back and pause and reflect. And there's so much to unpack with emotional intelligence. And so I'm really excited to dive into that. But to finish that story with Eric, he gave two examples. And he said, listen, one path. And he said, listen, he goes, I believe we're at a fork in the road.
Yeah.
And you got a choice. Now, he said, if you go through the fork in the road, it's a red ocean. You're just going to get bloodied. You're just like, you're not going to survive, because it's 1 foot in one and 1 foot in the other. And he said, one path is cold, non-personal. There's no connection.
Yep.
And he gave an example, and he talks about it in the manifesto as a hotel. And he said, imagine walking into this sterile, cold hotel where you see no human.
Right.
But it has face recognition. You have face recognition. You're going in, you have cameras, the doors are opening. You get to use, some type of code or fingerprint. You get into your room. You can order everything up, or you have it in your room and you can get access to it, or you go and there's a section inside of there to where you don't see a human. And I don't know how much you've been traveling, but some of the bigger airports, especially like DFW, they have the non-manned convenience stores, right?
I was going to bring that up because I've seen it.
We're already seeing it. So that's one path. And then he said the other path, and this is the path I love. This is the path I choose. This is the path I will go down until I can't go down this path. And it's the Ritz-Carlton. It's the above and beyond. It's the unreasonable hospitality.
Yeah.
And that's the things to where AI does the efficiency behind the scene, but it's still you connecting with another human and really utilizing AI to know everything you need to know about the guest coming in. And you already know, and every Ritz experience I've had, they already know what you need before you even need to ask.
Yeah.
And they're so preemptive in the way that they deliver and do things. That's the direction I want to go. That's the direction I believe will have the most impact. Could be wrong. Could be way off base. But that's the path that at least I want to believe in.
Yeah, that's our hope and dream staying stuck in there, right? Like, just come on. I just want to. I love people. I want to be around people. I like to talk to people. Like, it's all those things, and I think that's so spot on because there is a separator there, right? There is this AI will give you. You can and I'm coaching agents now, and I'm telling them the same thing. Like, you have to be prepared when you go. It used to be. It was always if you're going on a listing appointment, you need to know what the Zestimate is. Because your clients, your potential client's going to already check what the Zestimate is.
Sure.
Now, your clients are going in the chat and typing in, how can I sell my house by myself? Mm-hmm. So you have to create a relationship and nurture something there that's going to make them feel something outside of just a transaction. Because if they can go search and chat GPT and put in, how do I sell my house? And it just lays everything out for you. Why do they need you to put a sign in the front yard?
And there will be a small subset of the market that will do that. Right? I mean, there's such thing as for sale by owner. This is just amplifying and arming and giving more information to the for sale by owner individual. And it's going to continue to happen. It's a subset of the market. It already happens. It's just going to continue to happen. And, to your point, and Eric honestly shared this with me June of last year at Kitchen Table. He's like, Kitch, do you know what the number one customer complaint is now? And I'm like, well, it's always been communication. He's like, yeah, it was. He said, but now it's the buyers and sellers believe they know more than their real estate agent. And I'm like, 87%, maybe 90% do know more than their real estate agent. And it's just like, it's the leveling up of the industry. It's the thinning of the herd of the, this is a hobby. I'm not taking this as a professional and needing to, stay at the forefront. But I mean, what are the statistics that came out from NAR? I mean, 2 years in a row, almost 75% of the real estate agents did not sell a house.
Yeah.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Wild.
2 years in a row.
Wild.
And again, like, it's so true. There is the communication part, but then the social media we have, but I'm really good at social media, right? Like, it's like, you can put some posts out there. Great. It's great advertising. But at the end, and we've just seen this influx the last couple of days with the caricature, right? The character thing on Facebook where everybody's going in the chat and putting I did it. We all did it.
Sure.
Joined in on it. And it's fun. It's enjoyable. But at the same point, it's when are you doing the business? Like, I have this conversation with our state broker here all the time about agents and them not knowing the contract, right? The basic purchase agreement or your listing contract, them not knowing what's on it. They're just getting it signed, hopefully, and putting a house up for sale. Do they find all the things on it? Do they know what's going on in the contract? Or it's pre-filled out? So I just kind of like type some buttons and it fills out and I send it out. Or I have a transaction coordinator that does all that. So that's the scary part. And I think that leads back to the 70% of agents don't sell anything, is because so much is done for you, or this perception of, I sell 1 million homes a year, but I sold 4, because I put it all on social media, and ChatGPT told me what to say, and it gave me this really good Facebook post, and I put it out, right? And I have agents that hit our coaching all the time, and they say, well, they don't want to talk to anybody on the phone, and they're going to build their business through social media, which there is a way to do that. And there are plenty of agents that have been very successful at building a business via social media. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you just post stuff, right? That means, a Go Bethke, you work your social media. That's what her full-time job is, social media.
Yeah. She writes every one of her posts. She writes every one of her emails. Like, she is like, she takes it, she treats it like a business, not a hobby.
Yeah.
She's obsessed, right? So you look at kind of the characteristics of obsessed, committed, and interested. And the part-timers in this industry, the 75%ers, right, that don't sell a house, those are the people that are interested.
Correct.
You're going to sell, what you want to sell, depending upon, the amount of time and energy and effort, if you're committed, which I think is just an entry into this industry right now is like,
Right.
if you ain't committed, you ain't getting in. And obviously, we can talk about what committed means, but the few, right? The 0.0 or the 0.5% of this industry are obsessed. And that's the difference, right? To really gain any traction, it has to be an obsession.
It has to be. And that's the thing too. Like, and this, of coaching agents for as many years, we've all helped them with, adding tools, adding CRMs, automating everything for them. But then we still watch them stall, right? Like we still watch it stall out. And to me, that's where they're emotionally misaligned.
Yeah.
Right. They're emotionally not, they think one thing, they're getting told something, and they start to flex in and lean on what they're being told. And again, it's kind of like those, if you watch like American Idol, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have those open auditions, and somebody will go into one of those open auditions and they're terrible. You know what I mean? Like they just can't sing. They're me. They can't sing, right? They can't play anything. They can't sing. They're me. But somebody told them along the way, like, oh man, you sound great. You should go on American Idol. And they go do it. And they believe in it. Like they have this belief of like, oh man, I'm going to make it.
Yeah. Person that I believe in told me that they believed in me. They told me this. That has to be true.
Yeah, it has to be true. But that's where it comes back, like for that emotionally misaligned. So, the emotional intelligence part, the B show do have, right? We don't get the have first. And in today's society, we're quick to try to get to the have. Before we do the exercises to get to the have, we try to hit that fast forward button and get there instead of figuring out who do I want to be, right? What does that mean? What does it look like? Who do I want to be? Is there someone out there that I look up to that I want to be? Then can I do those things that person does? Can I show that I can do it consistently? Then I get to have at the end. But typically, a lot of times, agents especially start to work in the backwards. And it happens even quicker if they get a deal early on, right? If we all know that agent that
rewarded for bad behavior.
Got their license and sold their aunt's house and, made, $7,000. And they're like,
this is easy.
And then 6 months goes by and they haven't sold anything else. And they're trying to get out of it because they've spent all their money. They got their commission check. They put it all back into their broker fees, their board dues, their and now they're realizing like, holy crap, that one sale doesn't last very long.
And they probably went and bought a new car off that one sale. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the whole getting rewarded for bad behavior. But there's a little mental conflict concept around that, is that skipping steps only presents the illusion of speed. So think about the steps that they skipped because they got the reward faster than what they should have.
Yep.
And they just didn't have the right guidance and mentorship and leadership and coaching around them to be like, nah, dog, that ain't normal. Like, no, here's what we got to get, right? Like this is going to come back and haunt you because now you have this false belief. Let's get rooted back into what it really takes, the fundamentals, the foundation, get back to John Wooden 101, right? How do we put our socks on? How do we put our shoes on? How do we lace our shoes up? Why? So that we don't get blisters and become compromised and not being able to add value and help the team. And we become, not being able to play up to our potential because we didn't put our dang shoes on the right way. And I think that's just a great reminder in this industry. But Jimmy, take us down the rabbit hole, man, because, kind of where this connection comes, and especially on the emotional, the EQ side of things. Let's jump in and unpack that, and how it's kind of aligning in why it's important now, as in more so now in moving into the future.
Yeah. And I think, I know this from working with agents, but how much more important it is right now, because everybody is just pushing AI, right? Every mastermind event you go to, everything you see, every advertisement, it's AI. If you're getting a CRM, it has AI built in. If it has this, it has AI. AI is everywhere right now. It's been the biggest thing in our industry, probably the last 2 years for sure, but maybe ever, right? That the most biggest thing that's hit real estate, and entrepreneurs in general, but AI has probably been the biggest thing that's impacted us since probably the internet came out. And so, but what's happened is what we're seeing is inconsistency isn't a discipline problem. It's a regulation problem. And back to your point with the John Wood, like, this is what I need to do on a daily basis to get to what I want. And if I just repeat these things, and I always teach agents, make your schedule real boring. If you just do the same things every day, watch your business just grow. And watch how everything just works, right? And agents start to feel overwhelmed, and they bounce between shiny objects. Right? They bounce. We have all been a victim of it. I'm not doing this because I've never done this. I'm saying this because I've learned from experience of this shiny object. Oh my God, this CRM. Oh my gosh, this system. Oh my gosh, this lead source. Oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. And so we bounce between these shiny objects, but that's because we don't trust ourselves. Right? We don't trust ourselves to just do the work. We're trying to look for that easy button at the end. And when emotions are unmanaged, agents, they choose relief instead of results. So can I just get, I have one closing. Whew, right? Like,
yeah.
And us that have been doing this for a long time, we start to look at, I'm closing, I need another close. When's my next closing? Right? Like, when's the next closing day? Is great for the client. It's not so great for me because now that transaction is over. I need another transaction. I should have those already set up. So then it goes back to having the systems and everything else. But the emotional part of this is we're so caught up in, again, we have social media and we're comparing ourselves to so many people, and we're looking at all these social media celebrities that are doing real estate, and we're comparing it to that when we really truly don't even know what their numbers are.
Exactly.
Right? We don't even really know what they are. Some of us can look them up and find them. But we also know that those numbers can be inflated. They can be deflated. We can look at it a whole bunch of different ways. But the EQ side of this tells me where I want to go, what I want to do. So one thing I do first with every agent that I pull into my coaching program is I break down, what does this mean to them? Because what they all say. They all say, if I ask them how much they want to make next year,
100,000,
right? $100,000. What everybody tells you. And it sounds great. And I think that gets told a lot because most people haven't made that much, right? It's six figures. And I just come back and say, okay, why not 90? Why not 110, 115? Why not 200? Why is the stoppage here?
There's no intent or thought into the goal.
Yeah, it's just 100,000. It's six figures. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So, but then that's the first thing we have to do is figure out that part. Instead, what's happening now is we're going into ChatGPT or some other, AI system and putting in, what does it take to make $100,000 in real estate? And it's giving us some bland plan, right? Or some idea, because now people are saying, oh, you don't even need a coach anymore. You can just use AI. And again, that's that fork in the road. I can go down to that convenience store that doesn't have anybody working there and buy all my stuff.
Yeah.
Or I want someone that I can, have an emotional conversation with about something that's happening in my business today, right? Or something that's happening in my life today. Because, I've coached high school basketball for 20 some years. And it's one of those things. I always bring this up to agents, and I always say it's off the court issues, right? We all have off court issues.
100%. So always layers deeper. Always layers deeper.
Always layers deeper. So you have to find all those things out before you can start plugging AI into it. Now, can AI help you find out some of those problems? For sure. But you have to, again, now know what to put into it. So that's one of the big deep dives that I've been on, is figuring out what to put into it to make sure that we're getting this thing out. So when our emotions are unmanaged, right, we can start to pull our emotions back together before we start, doing this whole problem with AI, right? And the whole thing with technology, systems, everything else, is that technology doesn't create discipline; it reveals it, right? It reveals it because it's oh my gosh, I know, old school. I need 3 hours of prospecting a day. That should be 9 to 12. Right. We all know the schedule that a realtor should keep. And whether that's 2-3 hours, whatever it is. But we then again get into these rabbit holes of, well, I'm going to do this through AI. So now I've spent my 3 hours, my prospecting time working on some AI thing
Mhm.
that didn't help me get any further. But
Did not give me a conversation.
right,
Yeah.
didn't give me a conversation, didn't put me in front of everybody, but my mind tricked me to say I worked today.
Mhm.
And I go home and go, man, I worked really hard today.
You were busy.
Yeah, you were really busy, but you didn't move anything forward.
Mhm.
So then it's trying to figure out how do I move this forward, right? How do I become this whole thing, right? How do I do this? And that's where this human plus idea that I came up with through the what I've been doing is emotional intelligence before AI,
Mm.
right? Self-awareness before automation, and your identity before you start to scale. Because we have to figure out those things first. If you haven't figured out who you want to be and why you want to be that, it's hard to automate it and scale it if you don't really know what the basis of it is.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just, it's trying to make agents more calm and be a little bit more decisive with their decisions, and being operators of AI instead of AI operating them.
Right. I love
And
that.
we've seen a lot of growth and success with our agents doing this because, and the funny thing is that it's really helped them just calm a little bit too, because we get in this rat race and we become order takers of, can I go see this house today? Yes. What time do you want us to go see it? Right. And again, depending on what your lead sources are and whatever coming in, sometimes you have leads come in that have to go be taken care of that moment. Right. And then Barry Jenkins, from Ylopo said to me one time, he goes, the way these guys do lead sources, he always says, I always tell him, ask him at the end, do you want fries with that? He goes, because all you're doing is taking a fast food order and going and meeting somebody at 123 Main Street. And so, get off the phone, do you want fries with that? And I thought that was hilarious. But we do get into that rat race of, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And so but is that who you even want to be? Right? Who's that person you want to be? And because we have so much burnout in this industry, plenty of agents that will do 100 transactions this year.
Mm-hmm.
And are they happy doing 100 transactions? Or are they miserable doing 100 transactions? Because the money's one.
Most of them are like 99% of them are miserable if they're doing 100 transactions. And I think it's not intentional. I think there might be an ego play there. I think it's more of a lifestyle than it is an actual, what am I really building? Am I actually building a business? Am I actually building anything? And is this like, spinning off opportunities for me to, switch and start building some wealth? Or am I just have a high paying job? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Are we, we're not creating necessarily top producers, but what we're creating are operators, people who can actually run their business without being run by it. And to me, that's very important because again, I love my kids, my wife, my two boys. I want to be able to spend time with them, and through the emotional intelligence piece, this is another thing you figure out. We start to feel guilty when we're at home, and we should be at home. But should I be out showing houses right now? Should I be at an open house? But I'm at my son's basketball game, and but I should be doing this. And then when we're out showing houses or doing this, we should be like, oh, should I be home now? So you get this push pull of this guilt of, should I be doing this right now? And until we learn how to blend sort of this work life blend, because I've stopped using work life balance because it doesn't exist. It's not a real thing.
Yeah. No, it is. It is a blend.
We get to blend.
So how do we overcome that? Right. So I think we've all been there. We all fall into that trap every so often.
Yeah.
What are the tools? Where's the thinking? Where does the shift happen? How does it happen?
It happens because again, who you surround yourself with matters, right? Like you have to be talking to the right people. The shift matter, and again, before we end up quitting the business or getting out of it totally, or getting divorced because we're doing so much work, all these things that are happening. But we have to start thinking like, what does this long term look like for me?
Yeah.
right? How do I want this to look 5 years from now? And again, I'm 52, so my brain works a little bit different now, and than it did when I was 25. Um, but what do you want this to look like 5 years from now? Do I still want to be doing these things, right? And so how is it, we go into this and figure this out through, again, goes back to the emotional intelligence. Who do I want to be? Those things that person do that. Can I do those things? Can I stay consistent with them? And does that match my lifestyle and my financial lifestyle as well? Because then we can directly correspond. How many conversations do I need per day to get to that number? Because we already know the statistics, right? We already know how many conversations it takes to get to 100,000, or how many it takes to get to 200,000, or how many. We already know those numbers are there. Those numbers haven't ever changed.
Math is the math. You can math that out. But you have to know why. Why are you wanting to do that?
Right. That's the thing. And so you have to find your why. Now, using AI, it can help you find that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know what you're putting into it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things I found with it too is once you start to tell it to ask you questions, right? So if I go into ChatGPT and tell Chat, you are John Kitchens, right, coach, and then it's gonna go find you, and it's gonna give me a message based on what your tone is, based on what your internet presence is, right? So that's another funny thing too, because if you put yourself into ChatGPT and tell it to talk to me like Jimmy Nelson, it's funny because it comes back and it's like, oh my gosh, is that what I really say to people? but it will do it in that tone, right? Yeah. And if you tell it not to be nice, don't cut any corners, give me direct feedback, and ask me 10 questions that will affect my business in a way that will help me get to the production piece that I want to. And again, you can fill in the blanks with these. But then when it asks you the questions, talk back to it, right? There's the little microphone button in the bottom, and click on that and talk to it and give the answer back, because we talk differently than we type. But once you start doing those kind of things, yes, it can help you. But again, you should also be seeing, is this what I want? And is this where I want it to be, in the next 2, 3 to 5 years? Where do I want this to be? And once you start to figure that out, that's when it starts to become this inner reflection of, now this is what I want, right?
What are some good exercises or talk tracks? I don't want to say prompts, but essentially, how you want to tee up the AI, the prompt, if you will. But it's more of a, I'm a fan of, very rarely we'll type it out. I love the microphone, and we'll, throw whatever it is, via, audio message into, versus trying to type anything out or copy and paste in a prompt. Just being able to kind of go down that path. What are some of the, exercises or thoughts or prompts or things that you could do to help really unpack that why, the real reason of what we're trying to do? Maybe the goal beyond the goal is essentially what it is, right? Like, you ask them, okay, well, what's the goal? The goal is to make 100,000. Well, what's the goal beyond the goal, right? What is that 100,000? What's the purpose of it? How did you come up with that number? Why is that the number? Why is it not 100,000 a month instead of 100,000 a year? What are those exercises to help really flush that big picture, the bigger goal out?
So what we do is through our success sprint, is what we do is, again, we break down financials and start to look at, okay, here's where I'm at. Here's where my ads, like what am I spending and my business currently? How many closings have I had in the last year or 6 months? We kind of mess with those. Again, depends on how long somebody's been in the business. But I'm always like, this is where we have to be really honest with ourselves as agents and people, is what does this look like? If it's zero, it's okay, right? If you haven't sold a house yet, it's okay. You just have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, because I've had you, and you've had this too, I'm sure, where the agent sits down with you and says, I want to do, 25 transactions this year. Great. How many did you do last year? 0. Yeah. And it's like, it's really hard to go from 0 to 25, right? It's really hard to do that. And especially if you've been in the business for 2 years and you didn't do any business the last 2 years, and now you want to do 25. Well, where have you gotten that business? So again, we break it down to, all right, how many hours does this take a day? many conversations do I need to have? So you look at this big goal of say 100,000, and then we just reverse math it and get it down to what the daily looks like. Because here's the other problem: if you put this very large goal out there, it's very scary, right? It's very intimidating. Oh my gosh, I have to do X. And and I take this, and I give this a lot of coaching to this. Well, you can't boil the ocean, but you can boil it a pot at a time, right? But you can't boil the ocean. So be cautious of what you're putting out for these very large goals. So let's break those down. What does that look like per day? And what do we get to as soon as we're doing that stuff? So my thing is like, it's being realistic with your goals, the SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, right? Attainable, relatable, and timed. They have to be SMART goals. And again, we plug that into the AI. What are and that's where it starts to come into play, right? Where I can actually then use AI to help me get there and start to plan it out. But I got to know what the end result is and what the daily is. Then I can start to figure out what that looks like on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think I think also the understanding, the business goal is meant to be just a step along the path, right? Like it's not the end all be all. It's just the mechanism to move us closer to where we want to be. In fact, and I know how connected you guys are in relationship that you guys have with Chris Voss, and I think it was one of his emails that came out last week, and it really hit me on this, was vision drives decision.
Yes.
Decision drives action. No vision, no deal. So it was just a great reminder of, man, the decisions we make have to be driven by the future that we want to have and the future that we want to create. And so my goal, like you were talking about, better align to the bigger picture. Where is it just a survival default that most people can't think beyond kind of the immediate goal? They can't think into the future?
I think so. And then I think there's we're scared of the unknown too, right? We're scared of the unknown stuff. The risk that it takes, a lot of people don't realize how much risk we're taking on a daily basis being a realtor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're waking up every day and we need to go find somebody else that needs to buy or sell a house. Like that's really what we should be doing, every day. And so the risk, I think that's one of the risks. We're trying to, we always look at the short term. What's my fastest way to money, right? What's my fastest way to survival? And that's what's going to help me get there. But if we just keep doing the fastest to get there, how long do we want to continue to do that?
Yeah.
How long do we want to get up every day and just speed through this thing every day so I can do what, right? Get because we all do this for a living. So we all need the money to pay our bills and, do all those things. But how long do I want to keep scrambling to do this when I can set this up for a long-term play? Right?
Yeah.
So one of the prompts that we use too is describe how my current sales approach aligns or conflicts with what insert your company there. It conflicts with your principles of integrity, curiosity, and service. So once you put that in, so if I were to say, describe how my current sales approach aligns or conflicts with, John Kitchen's coaching principles of integrity, curiosity, and service, it's going to help me start to lay this out. Like, does it align or does it conflict with what I truly believe in? Right. And if it doesn't align with my integrity, my curiosity, why am I doing it? I should be moving on to something else and find something else that's going to actually line with what I want through my integrity, my curiosity, and my service, which is selling houses. I enjoy selling houses. I'm still a full-time agent, and I was just with a buyer over the weekend, right? Taking them out, looking at houses, and it's that relationship piece that I really like. So everything I do has to align with being able to build these relationships and being around people and doing all those things.
Yeah. It's so cool. There's so many different angles within this industry that if you just spent some time reflecting that, like you said, aligns to those virtues, those values, aligns to, what lights you up, and moving away from what you just uh, no, I don't want to do this. Right.
Yeah.
Um, and really spend some time, I mean, within the space, right? Cause we talk about it all the time. Like when a home transacts, how many different businesses get the ripple effect of somebody taking new ownership of a property? What happens? Like how many people get fed off of one home changing ownership? It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. On top of that, just thinking about just the direct connection, right? The direct, the agent, the title, the mortgage, like all that, yes. But think about the local pizza place that puts out the coupon to get a free
Yeah.
pizza because you moved it. Like that's another, there's so many
Yeah.
layers to this thing. Like you said, that ripple effect just goes throughout the whole neighborhood.
Mhm. Yeah. It's wild. I mean, you sit back and you start thinking about it. I mean, you think about, depending upon where you live, landscape companies, pool companies,
Yeah.
pest control companies, cleaning companies. You need fence maintenance, fence repair. You want to, resod the yard. Like I said, re-landscape, not just maintenance, but, just want to improve. Oh, we need, house painted. We need, something added on. Now you get in, contractor coming in. Oh, we need to revamp the HVAC. Now you got, contractors coming in, all the way down to, mom and pop Main Street business that's going to benefit from somebody new coming into the area, coming into the community. There's just so many different people that have an opportunity to get a swing at the piñata when, a home, changes ownership.
Yeah.
So like being able to find, as you were kind of listening, talking through a buyer, walking the buyer, showing buyer. And I'm like, Jimmy, God bless you. Like I have no desire to go to that buyer, but I would love to walk through the property and see the angles and why did the builder put this here? Why is this? Oh, how come I wonder why they extended this out this way. Right. And so like that intrigues me. So it's like, okay, well, where can you find an opportunity to create value with those likes, being able to get into it? So I
Yeah.
think, to your point, it's sitting down and being a little more intentional with something that you can see yourself spending the rest of your life doing, right? I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing. It's like what is sustainable here? And I think that, that gets overlooked a lot, and not enough thought and energy into like what could I sit and do every day for the rest of my life? What is sustainable? And within the real estate industry, it's so broad. There's so much opportunity.
So much.
And so it's a great avenue, a great, way to go down. And there's so many different ways to build your business when it comes to real estate. There's so many different, and you've seen so many, I've seen so many. And so I think it's just falling in line to what you're talking about, but it comes back knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses. And that's one of the tenets of emotional intelligence is your level of self-awareness. And it's
Yeah.
why we take all of the personality test, all of the assessments. We listen for feedback. We create feedback loops. We get coaches. We get mentors, right? It's all there to help us have a greater level of self-awareness. And how much happier would you, be to be able to design and make money on the things that light you up?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's one of the things I love about coaching, right? So I've been coaching basketball for a long time, and putting that back into now with realtors and entrepreneurs, and I can coach them up because I've been doing this for a long time, right? So but again, finding that passion, and again, the more people you help, the more you get in return, right? And it's whether that's financial or just I feel good, right? But it's I start to feel good about that. And like to your point, there are so many avenues we can take in this business that should be able to fulfill you. And if you're not being fulfilled, you need to find something else to do.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to be miserable. I had an agent that I talked to just a few years ago, and he said, he was 20, 21 at the time, and he said, I'm miserable. And I said, I'm like, bro, like you're way too young to be miserable. You need to be at least 50 before you're miserable.
You ain't got enough reps to know what miserable is,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. So I said, what do you like to do? And he said, I like to do the social media thing, and so he's actually started this whole other business that he does. Now he's doing
Yes.
people on social media and he loves it. He's having a great time. He's got his own business
Yes.
and he's killing it. And he's killing it because he loves what he does. He enjoys it and he's happy doing it. And now he's making money doing it. So it's
Yeah.
like, that's the rainbow, right? That's the pot of gold at the end, is that piece, right? It's how can I get to that part of where I'm doing what I love and I'm making money at it. It's even better.
It's even better. It's even better. And that is kind of the sauce and the recipe, right? You look at the why statement structure is broken down into, Jimmy, what are you the best in the world at that we can get you to do so that it gives you the most amount of fulfillment? Like, what is that? Right. And I think if a lot of people would just sit and pause and I mean, it's Simon Sinek's, why process.
Yeah.
And it's like, uncover what you are the best in the world at. What is your unique ability? What is your genius? What is your gift? Like go, take, go through the unique, unique ability, Dan Sullivan exercise, take the working genius, know your disc, do the Colby, do, the Strengths Finder, do them all. And then ask the people, the 10 closest people to you that'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And just ask them like, Jimmy, what am I the best in the world at? I mean, more importantly, like, what should I never do? And get that insight, get that honest, real feedback from real humans. Cause the AI is just going to gas you up.
Yeah.
And so I think that's great. But then the other reflective part in what you said about the guy, what fulfills you? What gives you that fulfillment that just lights you up, that you could do, even if you weren't getting paid, you would do it.
Yeah.
And then the bonus is you get to do it and make money.
Yeah. That's the bonus. And that's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that we're all looking for, is how can I be happy and aligned again with my family, with my friends, with my business, with my work and all those things. And how can I tie all that together? And you tie all that together through, again, figuring out what you want first and what you want out of this life. But what do you want first? Let's figure that part out. And then what's going to find that balance, and what's going to align with your integrity, your curiosity, and your service. If it doesn't, and again, you have to figure out if it doesn't align with those things, do something else, right? Then you're not the best in the world at it because it doesn't align with what you even believe in. So you can't be the best in the world at it because you don't really even believe in it.
Yeah. That is so good. So, Jimmy, we didn't even get to really scratch the surface. How can, folks listening in, how can they learn more about this Human Plus side of things, your network? How can they get connected with you to dive a little bit deeper?
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate it. But eliteedgenetwork.com. So if everybody goes to the eliteedgenetwork.com, there's information on there about Human Plus. You can also just schedule time with me in there. There's a link to schedule time, a 30-minute one-on-one with me in there. To again, make sure this even makes sense to people that are out there. It's, we've done this deep dive on this thing and figured this thing out. So, and it's helped a lot of agents out. So, but if you go to eliteedgenetwork.com, there's a place on there to schedule time with me. There's different levels in there. We have a built out a community. The Elite Edge Network community is there too. So we've got, about 100 people in the community that are sharing ideas and doing some different things in there as well. So it's, again, we've built out a community of people that are sharing information, caring for each other, and looking for the best for each other. And that's one of the biggest things that I take away from all this. If we can all just do better and be better, it's just better for the world, man. That's where I'm at.
So good, brother. I appreciate you. Fantastic as always. I know we'll have to run it back and do it again, and look forward to diving deeper with you and hear more about this Human Plus side of things. And I agree, man. EI before AI.
Yes, sir. Yes, awesome. Sir. I appreciate the time, my man. And again, and then a webinar every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time too. So, but you can find all that on the website.
Okay. Awesome. Guys, go get connected with Jimmy, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Jimmy, appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
See you guys. Thanks.